The sound of fabric ripping echoed through the crowded hallway like thunder. Madison Harper froze, feeling the cool air hit her exposed thigh as 3 perfectly manicured hands pulled away from her torn skirt. The smell of expensive perfume mixed with bubble gum filled her nostrils. Around hair. 200 students turned to stare, their phones already rising like weapons. Before we dive into Madison's incredible story, I just want to take a quick moment to say thank you for being here. Your support means everything. If this story touches your heart or reminds you of your own experiences, please hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. And your stories inspire me to keep creating content that matters. And if you want to help these stories reach more people who need to hear them, consider hitting the thanks button below this video. Every contribution, no matter how small, helps me dedicate more time to finding and sharing these powerful moments of courage. Together, we can make sure voices like Madison's are heard by everyone who's ever felt powerless or alone. Oops! Skylar Bennett pooted, her crystal blue eyes sparkling with malice. Guess cheap fabric from the thrift store just can't handle real quality. The laughter started as a ripple, then crashed over Madison like a tidal wave. She stood there, one hand clutching the torn fabric, the other gripping her calculus textbook so hard her knuckles turned white. The fluorescent lights above flickered, casting harsh shadows on the gleaming floor. But what happened next changed everything at Westfield Preparatory Academy forever. Phoenix, get the whole thing, Skylar commanded, tossing her platinum blonde hair over her shoulder. Phoenix Martinez, her loyal lieutenant with perfectly contoured cheekbones, angled her phone for the perfect shot. This is going straight to my story. #FashionFail. Brooklyn Hayes, the third member of their reign of terror, circled Madison like a shark. Maybe this will teach you to stay in your lane. Scholarship girl, the back of the cafeteria where you belong. Madison's jaw tightened. The torn fabric hung awkwardly, revealing her worn cotton leggings underneath. She could hear whispers spreading through the crowd like wildfire. Some students laughed, others filmed, most just watched, grateful it wasn't them in the spotlight of humiliation. Nothing to say? Skylar stepped closer, her designer heels clicking against the tile. Come on, Madison, where's that smart mouth now? You had plenty to say in debate class when you destroyed my argument about private school funding. That was the real reason for this attack. Yesterday, Madison had decimated Skylar's position in front of the entire honors debate team. She'd used facts, statistics, and a passion that made everyone forget about designer clothes and trust funds for 5 glorious minutes. Madison Harper from the South Side had made Skylar Bennett look foolish. Now it was payback time. I said, Skylar's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. Where's that smart mouth now? Madison lifted her chin. Her dark eyes met Skylar's without flinching. Right here, along with my dignity. Can you say the same? The crowd gasped. Someone whispered, she's dead. Skylar's perfect face twisted. Dignity? You're standing here with your raggedy underwear showing… And you want to talk about dignity? At least I earned my place here, Madison said, her voice steady as steel. My grades, my debate victories, my achievements. What have you earned? Skylar, or did Daddy's donations do all the heavy lifting? The hallway went silent. Even the air conditioning seemed to pause. Phoenix lowered her phone slightly. Brooklyn's smirk faltered. Skylar's face flushed red beneath her designer foundation. You little… Miss Bennett! The voice cut through the tension like a blade. Vice Principal Harrison emerged from the crowd, his gray suit as crisp as his disapproval. His eyes took in the scene, Madison holding her torn skirt, Skylar's aggressive stance, the circle of students with phones. My office. Now, he pointed at Skylar. Then Phoenix and Brooklyn, all 3 of you, but Mr. Harrison. Skylar's voice instantly transformed into sweet innocence. We were just… I saw enough. Miss Bennett, move. As the trio trudged away, Skylar shot Madison a look that promised this wasn't over. Phoenix mouthed something that looked like dead girl walking. Brooklyn just glared. The crowd began to disperse. But the damage was done. Videos were already uploading. Stories were spreading. Madison Harper, the scholarship student who dared to excel, had been publicly humiliated by Westfield's ruling queens. Here, a denim jacket appeared in Madison's peripheral vision. She turned to see Jordan Chen, student body vice president, offering his jacket. "Cover up with this." Madison hesitated. Jordan was popular, wealthy, everything she wasn't. Why would he help? Seriously. "Take it," Jordan insisted. What they did was messed up. She accepted the jacket, tying it around her waist. "Thanks. You okay?" Madison almost laughed. Okay? She was a viral joke. A target. A reminder of what happened when you challenged the social order at Westfield. But she nodded anyway. "I will be." Jordan studied her for a moment. "You know, what you said to Skylar about earning your place? That was brave. Brave or stupid? Maybe both. But mostly brave." He smiled sadly. "See you around." Madison, as he walked away, Madison realized the hallway was nearly empty. She had 7 minutes until AP Chemistry, a torn skirt, and a borrowed jacket that smelled like expensive cologne. By lunch, everyone at Westfield would have seen the video. By tonight, it would be all over social media. She should have been devastated. Should have been planning to transfer schools, to disappear, to never show her face again. Instead, Madison Harper smiled, because they didn't know her secret. None of them did. In her backpack, tucked between her calculus textbook and her hand-me-down laptop, was a folder that would change everything. 3 months of careful documentation, screenshots, financial records, evidence that would bring Skylar Bennett's perfect world crashing down. The skirt could be replaced. Her dignity was intact. But Skylar's reign? That was about to end. Madison headed to the bathroom to properly secure Jordan's jacket. As she walked, she pulled out her phone and opened a secure app. Her fingers flew across the screen. Phase 1 complete. They took the bait, proceeding to Phase 2. The response came immediately. "Excellent! The journalist is ready when you are." Madison tucked her phone away and examined herself in the bathroom mirror. Her natural hair was pulled back in a neat bun. Her dark skin glowed despite the harsh fluorescent lights. Her torn skirt was hidden beneath Jordan's jacket. She looked like a victim. "Perfect. You have no idea what you just started." "Skylar," she whispered to her reflection. "But you're about to find out." The bathroom door swung open. Faith Morrison, editor of the school newspaper, rushed in. Her red curls were wild, her green eyes bright with excitement. "Madison, I saw what happened. Are you okay?" "I'm fine." "Faith." "Fine? They assaulted you. That's destruction of property." "Harassment." "Probably cyberbullying once those videos spread." Faith pulled out her phone. "Already typing. I'm writing this story." Front page. Queen bees turn violent. The ugly truth behind Westfield's elite. "Faith." "Wait." "No! I'm tired of watching them terrorize people." "You." "Me." "Anyone who doesn't worship at the altar of Skylar Bennett." Faith's fingers flew across her phone screen. "Remember what they did to Trinity last year? The girl transferred schools." Madison. "Transferred? And what about River Murphy? They made that sweet kid's life hell just for being different." Madison gently placed her hand on Faith's phone, lowering it. "I appreciate this. I really do. But not yet." "Not yet?" Faith stared at her. "Madison, the whole school saw what happened. If we don't act now, trust me." Madison's eyes held something Faith had never seen before. A calculating coldness, a predator's patience. "There's more to this story than a torn skirt." Faith studied her for a long moment. "What are you planning?" "Justice. But it has to be done right." Madison adjusted the jacket around her waist. "Can you sit on this story for 48 hours? Just 48 hours? "Why?" "Because in 48 hours, you'll have a much bigger story. Front page of the real news. Not just the school paper." Faith's journalistic instincts kicked in. How much bigger? Watergate meets Mean Girls bigger. You're serious. Dead serious. Faith slowly put her phone away. 48 hours. Not a minute more. Deal. Madison turned to leave. Then paused. Faith, start looking into the Bennett Foundation's scholarship fund, specifically where the money really goes. Faith's eyes widened. Madison, what do you know? But Madison was already gone, leaving Faith with more questions than answers. Chemistry class was buzzing when Madison entered. Conversations stopped. Eyes tracked her movement to her lab station. Someone snickered. Someone else whispered. There she is. Her lab partner. Sage Williams looked up with concern. Sage was one of the few genuinely kind people at Westfield. Too focused on getting into MIT to care about social hierarchies. I heard what happened, Sage said quietly. That was really messed up. It's fine. Madison pulled out her notebook. Acting like this was any other day. It's not fine. Someone should do something about those. Someone will. Madison interrupted. Now, can we focus on the lab? I don't want to fall behind. Sage looked like they wanted to say more, but nodded. Yeah. Okay. We're testing reaction rates today. As they worked, Madison caught snippets of conversation around her, saw the whole thing. His skirt just ripped. Skylar's been suspended before. But Daddy always, to bet she transfers by Monday. Kind of impressed, she stood up to them. Madison measured chemicals precisely, her hands steady despite the whispers. She'd learned long ago that the best revenge wasn't served cold, it was served with evidence, documentation, and perfect timing. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Saw what happened. You're not alone. Check your locker after class. A friend. Interesting. Madison deleted the text and continued working. She'd built her plan, assuming she'd work alone. But unexpected allies could be useful. Madison, Sage whispered. You're smiling. Am I? Yeah. It's kind of scary. Madison schooled her features back to neutral. Just thinking about chemical reactions, how the right catalyst can cause an explosive chain reaction. We're studying reaction rates, not explosions. Same principle. Madison added a drop of catalyst to their solution and watched it change color. Sometimes you just need the right trigger. The rest of class passed quietly. Madison took meticulous notes, answered questions when called upon, and acted like her world hadn't just been turned upside down in front of 200 witnesses. Because it hadn't been. Not really. This had been planned for weeks. The torn skirt? She'd carefully weakened the seam that morning. The confrontation in debate class? She'd deliberately demolished Skylar's argument, knowing it would provoke retaliation. The viral humiliation? All part of the plan. Madison Harper wasn't just a scholarship student from the South Side. She was a chess player, and she'd just sacrificed a pawn to expose the queen. As the bell rang, she packed up slowly, letting the classroom empty. Sage lingered. Madison, I know we're not really friends outside of lab, but if you need anything, actually, Madison turned to face them. There is something, name it. You're president of the tech club, right? You have access to the school's network? Sage shifted uncomfortably. I mean, for legitimate purposes. Yeah. I need to know who's been accessing the scholarship fund database. Specifically, who's been making changes to financial records. Madison. That's the same scholarship fund that rejected your brother last year, even though he had perfect grades and recommendations? Sage's expression hardened. They said the funds were allocated elsewhere. To where? To whom? Madison leaned in. Don't you want to know why your brother is at community college instead of here? You're saying Skylar's family. I'm not saying anything. Yet, but wouldn't you like to know the truth? Sage was quiet for a long moment. Then, what do you need? Access logs. Financial records. Any communications about scholarship decisions? Madison pulled out a USB drive. Can you do it? Yeah. Sage pocketed the drive. Yeah. I can do it. Give me 24 hours. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Sage grabbed their backpack. And Madison, be careful. The Bennetts don't just have money, they have connections, lovers, PR firms. They know how to bury problems. Good thing I'm not planning to be buried. After Sage left, Madison made her way to her locker. The hallways were less crowded now, but she still felt eyes on her. Whispers followed her like shadows. Her locker was exactly as she'd left it, except for a small envelope, tucked into the ventilation slot. No name, no identifying marks. Madison glanced around, then opened it. Inside was a photo. Skylar Bennett at a party, clearly intoxicated, handing an envelope to someone Madison recognized as a college admissions consultant, the same consultant who'd been caught in a bribery scandal last year but somehow avoided naming names. On the back of the photo, someone had written, "She destroyed my future. Time to return the favor. River." River Murphy, the quiet kid Skylar had tormented until they left Westfield. Apparently, they hadn't forgotten. Madison tucked the photo away. Another piece of evidence, another ally in the shadows. Her phone buzzed. This time, it was her mother. Saw the video. "Are you okay, baby?" Madison typed back, "I'm fine. Mom, don't worry. Those little witches. I'm calling the school. Please don't. I've got this handled. Madison, trust me. Mom, by next week, this will all be over. If you're sure." "I'm sure. Love you. Love you too. Baby." Show them what Harpers are made of. Madison smiled. Her mother had no idea how literally she planned to take that advice. Lunch was the real test. The cafeteria at Westfield was a battlefield disguised as a dining hall. Every table had its territory, its hierarchy, its unspoken rules. Madison usually sat in the back corner with the other scholarship students, invisible and safe. Not today. Today, she walked straight through the center of the cafeteria, Jordan's jacket still tied around her waist, her head high. The noise level dropped as she passed. Forks paused mid-air. Conversations stuttered to a halt. Skylar's table, the golden throne of Westfield's social order, sat in the perfect spot, not too close to the food lines, not too far from the windows. Prime real estate for prime people. But Skylar wasn't there. Suspension. Probably, or Daddy's lawyers were already working on damage control. Phoenix and Brooklyn sat in their usual spots. But they looked diminished. Without their queen, they were just pretty girls with expensive clothes and mean streaks. "Look who it is," Phoenix called out as Madison passed. "The thrift store princess. How's your skirt?" Madison stopped. The entire cafeteria held its breath. She turned slowly, a smile playing at her lips. "Better than your SAT scores?" "Phoenix, what was it again? 1100? 1200 after Daddy hired that tutor?" Phoenix's face went pale. "How did you?" Amazing what people say in the library when they think scholarship students don't matter. Madison took a step closer. "Like how you've been paying Ethan Chen to write your essays. Or how you cheated on the AP history exam last year." "Mrs. Peterson's still looking for proof, isn't she?" "You can't prove anything," Phoenix hissed. But her voice shook. "Can't I?" Madison pulled out her phone. Funny thing about digital footprints, they never really disappear. Brooklyn stood up. "Are you threatening us?" "No." Madison's smile widened. "I'm promising you. Everything you've done, every shortcut you've taken, every person you've stepped on to maintain your precious status, it's all about to come out." "You're bluffing," Brooklyn said, but she didn't sound convinced. "Am I? Check your email in about, 5 minutes. Madison glanced at her phone. "Right after the video goes live." "What video? The one where you and Phoenix are in the parking lot last week?" "Keying Trinity Rodriguez's car." Amazing how many security cameras this school has. Even more amazing, how many students have access to the footage, if they know where to look. Brooklyn sat down hard. Phoenix grabbed her phone. Fingers shaking. 5 minutes. Madison repeated. Unless what?" Phoenix's voice was barely a whisper. Unless you both make a choice, keep following Skylar down her sinking ship, or jump off while you still can. You want us to turn on Skylar. I want you to tell the truth. About the scholarship fund. About the bribes. About everything. Madison leaned in. You have 4 minutes and 30 seconds to decide. She walked away, leaving chaos in her wake. By the time she reached her usual table, the cafeteria was buzzing. Phoenix and Brooklyn were huddled together, whispering frantically. Other students were checking their phones, waiting for whatever bombshell was about to drop. Madison! Destiny Chen waved her over. Girl, what did you just do? Madison sat down with her lunch tray. Started a revolution. By yourself? No. Madison looked around the table at the other scholarship students, kids like her who'd been told to be grateful, to stay quiet, to not make waves. I had help. From all of you. What are you talking about? Caleb Morrison asked. Every time they made fun of your shoes, Caleb, and you just smiled and kept walking. Every time they accidentally spilled something on your backpack, Destiny, and you cleaned it up without complaint. Every time they called you names, whispered about your families, made you feel like you didn't belong. You all survived. You showed me it was possible to endure, but you're not enduring. Trinity Rodriguez said quietly. She'd returned to Westfield this year, despite everything. You're fighting back, because enduring isn't enough anymore. Madison's phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. We're in. Phoenix and Brooklyn just asked for a meeting. Faith, 3 minutes and 45 seconds. Not bad. What happens now? Caleb asked. Now, we stop being victims and start being victors. Madison stood up. Anyone who has evidence of bullying, harassment, academic dishonesty, or financial corruption at this school, bring it to Faith Morrison. She's running a special edition of the paper. They'll shut it down. Destiny protested. The administration always protects. Not this time. Madison smiled. Because this time, it's not just the school paper. Channel 7 News got an interesting tip this morning about embezzlement at one of the city's most prestigious private schools. They'll be here by 3 o'clock. The scholarship table stared at her in awe. You planned this. Trinity breathed. The whole thing. The skirt. The confrontation. Sometimes you have to lose a battle to win the war. Madison gathered her things. And this war? It's been brewing for years. I just lit the match. As she left the cafeteria, Madison felt the shift in the air. The balance of power at Westfield was changing. Students who'd been silent were starting to talk. Those who'd been invisible were becoming seen. Her phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Madison Harper? The voice was professional. Crisp. This is Patricia Williams from Channel 7 News. I received some very interesting documents this morning regarding the Bennett Foundation and Westfield Preparatory Academy. I'd like to interview you. On camera. Today, I'll be ready. Excellent. One more thing, I've been investigating the Bennetts for months. Your information fills in the missing pieces. How did you get access to these financial records? Madison thought of her father, the accountant who'd lost his job for refusing to cook the books, who'd spent months collecting evidence before he died, who'd left her everything she needed to finish what he started. Let's just say I learned from the best. I see. We'll be there at 3. And Madison, wear something nice. This interview is going to change everything. The line went dead. Madison tucked her phone away and headed to her next class. In the hallway, she passed a group of freshmen staring at their phones. Phoenix and Brooklyn just posted statements, saying Skylar forced them, evidence of grade tampering. Scholarship, money going to fake students. Madison kept walking. The dominoes were falling faster than she'd anticipated. Good. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was Skylar. You think you've won? My family will destroy you. You'll never get into college. Never get a job. You're done. Madison typed back. See you on the evening news. Skylar, wear something nice. Orange isn't your color, but you might need to get used to it. She hit send and blocked the number. No more distractions. Phase 2 was in motion. AP Literature was her last class before the news crew arrived. Mrs. Patterson was discussing The Great Gatsby and the fall of the American dream. How appropriate. Can anyone tell me what Fitzgerald was trying to say about wealth and morality? Mrs. Patterson asked. Madison raised her hand. That money can't buy character. That those who inherit wealth often corrupt it. That the American dream becomes a nightmare when it's built on lies and exploitation. Excellent analysis. Madison, can you give us a modern example? Madison smiled. Ask me again tomorrow. Mrs. Patterson, I'll have a perfect one for you. The class chuckled nervously. Word had spread. Everyone knew something big was coming. Well then, Mrs. Patterson said slowly, I look forward to your insight. As the final bell approached, Madison noticed several things happening outside the window. News fans were pulling up. Parents were arriving. Looking confused and angry, Principal Edwards was on the front steps, trying to maintain order. Her phone lit up with messages. Sage, got everything. Sending to Faith now. This is insane. River, more photos in your locker. Check the dates. Jordan, my jacket looks good on you. Keep it. You'll need armor for what's coming. Faith, front page ready. Also, 3 more victims came forward. This is huge. Mom, saw the news trucks. I'm proud of you. Baby, the bell rang. Madison packed up carefully, knowing this might be the last normal moment before everything exploded. Madison, Mrs. Patterson called out. A moment, the classroom emptied. Mrs. Patterson waited until they were alone. I know what you're doing, the teacher said quietly. I've known about the Bennett's corruption for years, but I had no proof, no power to stop it. And now I have a brave student who's about to blow it all wide open. Mrs. Patterson opened her desk drawer and pulled out a folder. Standardized test scores, the real ones, before they were altered. Skylar Bennett should have failed junior year. Phoenix Martinez has never passed a math test honestly. Brooklyn Hayes's acceptance to Yale was bought and paid for. Madison took the folder. Why didn't you? Because I have a mortgage. A sick mother. I need this job. Mrs. Patterson's eyes were sad but determined. But you? You're 17. You're fearless. And you're about to do what none of us adults could. It might not work. They have lawyers. Connections. They have fear. You have truth. Mrs. Patterson squeezed her shoulder. Go make history. Madison. I'll be watching the news tonight. Madison left the classroom and headed for the main entrance. The hallway was packed with students trying to get a glimpse of the news crews. She pushed through. Jordan's jacket still around her waist like armor. Outside, Patricia Williams stood with her cameraman, interviewing concerned parents. Principal Edwards was trying to direct them away from the building. Lawyers were already arriving in expensive cars. But none of that mattered, because Madison Harper had the truth, and in 3 minutes, the whole world would too. She stepped out into the sunshine, ready to burn down the kingdom that the Bennetts had built on lies. The war for Westfield Preparatory had begun, and Madison Harper intended to win. Patricia Williams's eyes lit up when she saw Madison approaching. The veteran reporter had covered scandals from City Hall to Wall Street, but something about this 17-year-old girl with a torn skirt and borrowed jacket made her pause. Madison Harper? That's me. You're younger than I expected. Patricia gestured to her cameraman. Are you sure you're ready for this? Once we go live? There's no taking it back. Madison thought of her father, dying in a hospital bed, still clutching documents about the Bennett Foundation's fraud. I've been ready for 3 years. Then let's make history. Patricia turned to the camera. Rolling in 3, 2. This is Patricia Williams reporting live from Westfield Preparatory Academy, where allegations of financial corruption and systematic bullying have rocked this elite institution. With me is Madison Harper, the student whose viral confrontation this morning has exposed what may be the largest private school scandal in state history. The red light blinked on. Madison stared directly into the camera. Madison, tell us what happened today. What happened today was just the tip of the iceberg. Madison's voice was steady, clear. For years, the Bennett family has been stealing from the scholarship fund meant for students like me. They've been taking money designated for underprivileged students and funneling it into their own pockets. Behind them, Principal Edwards started pushing through the crowd, his face purple with rage. "Those are serious allegations," Patricia said. "Do you have proof?" "I have 3 years of financial records showing money being transferred from the scholarship fund to shell companies owned by the Bennett Foundation. I have emails between board members discussing how to cover it up. I have testimony from former employees who were fired for asking questions." "Stop this immediately!" Principal Edwards reached them, breathing hard. "This is private property. You need permission to—" "Actually," Patricia interrupted smoothly, "we're on the public sidewalk, and I believe the public has a right to know if their donations are being stolen." A crowd was gathering. Students, parents, teachers. Madison saw Sage in the crowd, USB drive in hand. Faith was typing furiously on her phone. River stood near the back. Finally visible after months of hiding, Madison. Patricia continued. "You mentioned testimony from former employees. Can you elaborate?" This was it, the moment of truth. "My father was the chief accountant for the Bennett Foundation. 3 years ago, he discovered that millions of dollars meant for scholarships were being redirected. When he tried to report it, he was fired. When he threatened to go to the authorities, he was blackmailed. The stress gave him a heart attack. He died last year, but not before gathering enough evidence to expose everything." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone shouted, "Is that why you really came to Westfield?" Madison turned to face the crowd. "I came here on a legitimate scholarship. I earned my place with perfect grades and test scores. But yes, I also came to finish what my father started, to get justice for every student who was denied an education so the Bennetts could buy another yacht." "This is slander!" A man in an expensive suit pushed forward. Madison recognized him as Charles Bennett, Skylar's father. "My lawyers will—" "Your lawyers?" Madison interrupted. "I might want to check their email. The FBI received a package this morning with enough evidence to start a federal investigation. Wire fraud across state lines is a serious crime." "Mr. Bennett." Charles Bennett's face went white. "You little—" "Charles!" A woman's voice cut through the chaos. Monica Bennett, perfectly coiffed and diamond-draped, grabbed her husband's arm. "Not here. Not on camera." But it was too late. Patricia's cameraman had caught everything. "Mrs. Bennett." Patricia thrust the microphone forward. "Would you like to respond to these allegations?" "No comment." Monica dragged her husband away. But not before shooting Madison a look of pure venom. "The Bennetts are leaving." Patricia narrated for the camera. "But the questions remain. Madison, you've shown remarkable courage coming forward. Aren't you afraid of retaliation?" "They already retaliated." Madison gestured to Jordan's jacket around her waist. "This morning, their daughter and her friends tore my skirt in front of 200 students. They've been bullying scholarship students for years, making us feel worthless, trying to force us out, but we're not going anywhere." "Cut the camera!" Principal Edwards made another attempt. "This is a witch hunt. The Bennetts are pillars of this community. Pillars built on stolen money." Madison shot back. "How much did they pay you to look the other way?" "Principal Edwards, was it worth betraying every student who trusted you?" The principal's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Behind him, Madison saw school board members arriving, their faces grim. "I think," Patricia said slowly, "we need to hear from more students. Who else has a story to tell?" The floodgates opened. Trinity Rodriguez stepped forward first. "Last year, Skylar Bennett spread rumors about me until I had to leave school. She said my mom was illegal, that we didn't belong here. My mom's a citizen. She works 2 jobs to pay for my education." But truth didn't matter to Skylar. River Murphy emerged from the shadows. "They tortured me for being different, for not fitting their perfect mold. I have recordings of the things they said, the threats they made, One by one, students stepped forward, each with a story, each with evidence. The cameraman swung back and forth, trying to capture it all. This is unprecedented, Patricia whispered to Madison during a brief break. In 20 years of reporting, I've never seen anything like this. That's because people like the Bennetts usually win, Madison replied. They have money, lawyers, connections, but they forgot one thing. What's that? They forgot that there are more of us than them. A commotion near the parking lot caught their attention. Skylar Bennett was trying to leave campus, flanked by security guards, but students had formed a human chain, blocking her car. "Let me through!" Skylar screamed. "You can't do this." Actually, Faith Morrison stepped forward. "School newspaper in hand. We can. Freedom of the press. Freedom of assembly. You taught us about those rights in student government. Remember? Right before you embezzled the fundraising money, Skylar's perfect face crumbled. I didn't. My parents. Your parents what?" Madison walked through the crowd, which parted like the Red Sea, taught you to steal, showed you how to destroy people, or just never taught you consequences. They stood face to face. The Queen and the Revolutionary, designer clothes versus thrift store finds, privilege versus perseverance. You ruined everything. Skylar hissed. My family. My future. No. Madison's voice carried across the silent crowd. You ruined everything. Every scholarship you stole ruined someone's future. Every student you bullied into leaving ruined a dream. Every dollar your family embezzled ruined a chance for someone to escape poverty. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Skylar's voice cracked. We were supposed to win. We always win. Not anymore. Phoenix and Brooklyn appeared, looking like they'd aged years and hours. Phoenix held out her phone. Skylar, look. The video of this morning has 10 million views. The comments are, they're brutal. Everyone knows. Brooklyn added quietly. About the bribes. The SAT scandal. Everything. Our acceptance letters are being rescinded. Yale called my parents. Skylar turned on them. You told? You betrayed me? You betrayed us first. Phoenix said, making us do your dirty work. Threatening us. If we didn't comply. We have the texts. Skylar. All of them. I made you popular. I made you matter. You made us accomplices. Brooklyn's voice was steady for the first time, but we're done. We're testifying about everything. Skylar lunged at Brooklyn, but security intervened. As they pulled her back, she screamed at Madison. This isn't over. My family will destroy you. You'll never work in this state. You'll end up just like your pathetic father. The crowd gasped. Madison felt the rage rise in her chest. Hot and powerful. But she didn't move, didn't react, because Skylar had just made a crucial mistake. Patricia. Madison said calmly, and what did you get that on camera? Every word. The reporter confirmed. Good. Because threatening a federal witness is a crime added to the list. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Growing closer, Skylar's face went from red to white as the reality hit her. No, she whispered. No. 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 Daddy said the lawyers would handle it. Daddy said, your daddy. A new voice interrupted. Is being arrested as we speak. FBI agent Sarah Chen stepped out of an unmarked car. Badge gleaming. Skylar Bennett. You're under arrest for conspiracy to commit wire fraud, witness intimidation, and destruction of property. The skirt? Someone in the crowd asked. Incredulous. The beginning of a pattern of targeted harassment that escalated to criminal conspiracy, Agent Chen nodded to Madison. Ms. Harper's evidence was comprehensive. 3 years of patient documentation. Your father would be proud. As they led Skylar away in handcuffs, she looked back one more time. Not at her former friends, not at the cameras, but at Madison. Why? She asked, genuine confusion in her voice. You could have just kept your head down. Graduated. Gotten out. Why risk everything? Madison thought for a moment. Because keeping my head down wouldn't help the next scholarship kid. or the one after that. Someone had to stand up. Someone had to say enough, but you lost too. Your reputation. Your privacy. I lost a torn skirt. You lost everything. Madison turned away. I'd say I came out ahead. The police car pulled away, taking Skylar and her perfect life with it. The crowd began to disperse. But the energy remained electric. Patricia wrapped up her broadcast. This has been Patricia Williams, reporting on what may be the most significant private school scandal in decades. The Bennett family's alleged theft of scholarship funds has left countless students without opportunities, but today, one brave young woman said enough. Madison Harper. Any final words? Madison looked directly into the camera, thinking of every scholarship kid watching. Every bullied student, everyone who'd been told they didn't belong. Your voice matters. Your story matters. And if someone tries to silence you, speak louder. The truth doesn't need money or connections or designer clothes. The truth just needs someone brave enough to tell it. The red light went off. Patricia lowered her microphone. That was incredible. You know this story's going national, right? Good. Maybe it'll help other students find their voice. As the news crew packed up, Madison felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned to find her mother, tears streaming down her face. Mama, how did you? Saw it on the news at work. Caught the first bus here. Her mother pulled her into a fierce hug. Your daddy would be so proud. So proud. They held each other as the sun set over Westfield Preparatory, painting the sky in shades of justice and hope. Over the next hours, the dominoes continued to fall. Charles Bennett was arrested at his office. Monica Bennett tried to flee but was caught at the airport. The school board called an emergency meeting and voted to suspend Principal Edwards pending investigation. By evening, Madison's phone was exploding with messages. Scholarship organizations offering full rides, Ivy League schools inviting her to apply, publishers wanting her story. But she ignored them all, sitting in the empty cafeteria with her real prizes. Her friends, we did it. Trinity said, still disbelieving. We actually did it. You did it. Sage corrected, looking at Madison. You planned this whole thing. You turned their weapons against them. We all did it. Madison insisted. Every person who stood up today, who shared their story, who refused to be silenced anymore. This was bigger than me. Faith looked up from her laptop. The special editions already got 50,000 views online. The comments are incredible. Students from private schools all over the country are sharing similar stories. It's a movement, River said quietly. You started a movement. No, Madison smiled. We started a revolution. Jordan appeared in the doorway, looking exhausted, but happy. Thought you might want to know the board just voted. Every student who lost a scholarship because of the Bennett fraud will have it reinstated. With back pay, cheers erupted. Caleb's family could afford his sister's medical bills. Destiny's brother could return to school. Dozens of dreams. Restored. Also, Jordan continued. They want you to speak at the emergency assembly tomorrow. If you're willing, Madison considered. Tomorrow, she'd face the entire school, not as the girl with the torn skirt, but as the girl who brought down an empire. I'll do it, but not alone. She looked around the table. We all speak. Every scholarship kid who wants to. This is our school too. As they planned for tomorrow, Madison's phone buzzed one last time. An unknown number. But she recognized the area code. Her father's old office. Hello? Madison? This is Robert Walsh. I worked with your father. I just saw the news. And, God, Anthony would be so proud. He never stopped fighting. You know, even at the end, I know. Madison's voice was thick with emotion. I finished what he started. You did more than that. You gave his death, meaning you got justice. A pause. There's something else. Your father left something for you. Said to give it to you when you were ready. I think you're ready now. They arranged to meet tomorrow. Another piece of her father's legacy, waiting to be discovered. As the night wore on, the cafeteria filled with students, not the popular kids or the scholarship kids or any other artificial division, just students. Equal. United. Free. Someone brought pizza. Someone else brought speakers. What started as a strategy session turned into a celebration. For the first time in Westfield preparatory history, every student was welcome at the same table. "Hey, Madison." Phoenix approached hesitantly. "I know I can't undo what I did, but I want to help fix it. If you'll let me." Madison studied her former tormentor. Phoenix looked smaller without her crown, more human without her armor of cruelty. "Everyone deserves a second chance," Madison said finally. "But you earn it. You don't inherit it." "I understand. I'll earn it." Brooklyn joined them. "We both will. We've been horrible, but we want to be better. Then be better. Starting tomorrow." As midnight approached, the party wound down. Madison stood outside, looking up at the stars, the same stars her father had pointed to when she was little, telling her she could reach them if she worked hard enough. "I did it, Daddy," she whispered. "I reached them. For too long, this school has been divided not by grades or talents or dreams, but by bank accounts. That ends now. From today forward, Westfield Preparatory will be what it claims to be, a place where excellence is earned, not bought." More applause. Madison saw her mother in the front row, tears of pride on her face. To those who benefited from the old system, you have a choice. Cling to your crumbling privilege, or help build something better. To those who suffered under it, your time has come. And to those who stood by and watched, remember, silence in the face of injustice is complicity. She paused, thinking of her father, of every sacrifice he'd made. But today, we're not silent anymore. Today, we roar. The standing ovation lasted 5 minutes. Madison walked off stage into a sea of hugs, tears, and hope. Later, she met Robert Walsh at a small cafe. He handed her a letter, yellowed with age. "Your father wrote this the day before he died. Said you'd know when to open it." With shaking hands, Madison opened her father's last message. "My dearest Madison, if you're reading this, then you've done what I couldn't. You've brought truth to light and justice to those who thought themselves untouchable. I know the cost. I know the weight you've carried. But remember this. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting despite the fear. And you, my brilliant girl, are the most courageous person I know. The Bennetts took my job, my health, and finally my life. But they couldn't take my hope, because my hope lives in you. Change the world." Madison. One torn skirt. One brave stand. One truth at a time. All my love. Dad. Madison wiped her tears and looked out the window. Students were walking by in groups that would have been impossible yesterday. Athletes with artists. Rich with poor. United by more than what divided them. As she walked back to school, Jordan's jacket still around her shoulders like a cape, Madison Harper knew the truth. Sometimes the biggest changes start with the smallest acts of defiance. Sometimes all it takes is refusing to bow down. Sometimes revolution begins with a torn skirt and ends with a torn-down system. And sometimes, just sometimes, the girl from the wrong side of town doesn't just survive the kingdom, she rebuilds it. Better. Fairy. For everyone. The war for Westfield Preparatory was over. The revolution for every school had just begun. And Madison Harper, the girl who refused to be silenced, was ready to lead it.